Every culture on Earth tells the same story, that when we die, something of us remains, a presence in empty rooms, a shadow where no one stands. For thousands of years, people have claimed to see the dead, but are ghosts real, or is the human mind creating something it desperately wants to believe? Tonight, we delve deeply into the investigation. Ancient ghost stories, haunted places, scientific explanations, and near-death experiences. We're left with one final question. When we die, does anything remain? Not stories, not memories, but us. Because if even a small part of consciousness survives, then the idea of ghosts might not be so impossible after all. What we've learned. Throughout history, people have described encounters with something they couldn't explain. Ancient civilizations believed the dead could return. Modern witnesses report eerily similar experiences. And science has shown that the human mind is powerful enough to create vivid, convincing realities. So where does that leave us? Some explanations suggest ghosts are simply the result of perception, memory, and environment. Others leave the door slightly open, acknowledging that not everything is fully understood. The possibility of consciousness beyond the body. Near-death experiences introduced one of the most intriguing ideas in this series. The possibility that consciousness might not be entirely tied to the physical brain. If that were true, even briefly, it would change everything. Because a ghost, at its core, is simply the idea that consciousness continues after death. Not necessarily as a visible spirit, but as something that still exists in some form. Why, the question still remains. Despite centuries of stories and decades of research, there is no single answer, no clear proof that ghosts exist, but also no complete explanation for every experience people report. And that uncertainty is where the mystery lives. Because the question isn't just about ghosts, it's about identity, what we are, and whether that something can ever truly disappear. Final reflection. Maybe ghosts are not what we imagine. Maybe they're not figures in the dark or shadows in empty rooms. Maybe the real mystery is simpler and deeper. Whether consciousness ends or changes. But what if the question isn't whether we stay? What if the real question is whether we return? Across cultures and centuries, people have claimed something even more extraordinary than ghosts. Memories of past lives. Experiences that suggest consciousness doesn't just continue, but begins again. In the next series, we explore one of the most fascinating ideas of all, reincarnation. Because if we don't become ghosts, then where do we go? The mystery of what happens after death is far from solved. In the next episode, we push deeper into the question that has haunted humanity for centuries. Could consciousness survive the body, or are ghosts simply creations of the human mind? If you're curious about what we might discover next, subscribe and join the investigation as we continue asking, when we die, do we become ghosts?